In the headlines for this hour on VTV News, ASEAN senior official meeting on transnational crime took place on September 24th by video conference. And Vietnamese supporting industry conquers strict requirements of Japanese markets. An Egyptian orchestra for visually impaired women resumes concerts amid COVID-19.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi and you're watching VTV News. On Thursday, the 14th Congress of the Cần Thơ Party Committee for term 2020-2025 was held. Speaking at the Congress, National Assembly Chairwoman Nguyễn Thị Kim Ngân said that Cần Thơ should make an effort to complete its goals of building and developing a green, civilized, modern city with a bold regional identity.
Over the past 5 years, despite many difficulties, the party committee, the authorities and people of Cần Thơ has completed all 13 targets of the revolution of the City Party Congress. The city has steadily affirmed its role at the center of finance, commerce, services, import-export, logistics, and high-tech agricultural production in the Mekong Delta. In addition to praising the results achieved in the past terms, Chairwoman Nguyen said that Cần Thơ should focus on implementing the resolution of the Politburo on building and developing the city until 2030 with a vision to 2045. The goal is to fulfill exploit Cần Thö's potential and internal strength and to promote regional linkage. The chairwoman also noted that Cần Thơ should pay attention to the work of building the party and government. All guidelines and work must come from the aspirations, rights and legitimate interests of the people.
Cần Thơ should focus on urban planning and work towards becoming an ecological, civilized and modern urban area in the Mekong Delta. It needs to develop quickly and sustainably in line with the development of the processing industry, high-tech agriculture and high added value services. The city needs to seriously and effectively implement the resolutions of the central government, especially the ones that strengthen the construction of the party and renew and arrange the organizational apparatus of the political system in a transparent direction. Officers need to continue to study and follow Ho Chi Minh's ideology, ethics and lifestyle.
The National Assembly Chairwoman Nguyễn Thị Kim Ngân also suggested that Cần Thơ focus on research and apply new technologies. It needs to closely combine socio-economic development with national defense and security tasks in order to make Cần Thơ a strategic area in the Mekong Delta and the whole country.
In addition to the Party Congress of Cần Thơ on September 24th was the Party Congress of some provinces for the 2020-2025 term. On Thursday, Võ Văn Thưởng, member of the Politburo, Secretary of the Party Central Committee and head of the Central Committee's Commission for Communication and Education, attended and directed the An Giang Provincial Party Committee's Congress. Võ Văn Thưởng suggested delegates to uphold the responsibility and identity policies and solutions to make An Giang developed and sustainable. An Giang needs to clearly define its key fields to strengthen cooperation and implement the projects to sustainably develop the Long Xuyên quadrangles and cooperation with the border provinces of Cambodia. On September 24th, the celebration of the 80th anniversary of the Baksun Uprising was held in Baksun District, Lạng Sơn Province. General Lương Cường, Secretary of the Party Central Committee and Director of the Vietnam People's Army of VPA General Departments of Politics, attended the anniversary. 80 years ago, in September 1940, the Communist parties in Baksun District attacked Mỏ Nhai Station, starting the Baksun Revolt. After invading the town, the Baksun guerrilla teams was born and eventually became one of the first armed organizations and the forerunners of the VPA. On these occasions, under the authorizations of the Prime Minister, General Lương Cường awarded the second-class independence medals to the party committee, government and peoples of Baksun district. The 17th ASEAN Chief of Defense Forces meeting, or ACDFM 17, took place on Thursday morning, September 24th. This was the first time the ACDFM was held online, which shows Vietnam's determinations as a chair of ASEAN to not let the pandemic affect the military cooperation between the ASEAN countries. At the meeting, delegates discussed international and regional matters and agreed that the region is currently facing many challenges that are threatening its peace and stability. The meeting also affirms that the maintenance of peace, stability, security, safety, and freedom of navigation in the East Sea must be upheld. ASEAN countries will need to preserve its principles to peacefully settle disputes. Vietnam attended the 20th ASEAN Senior Official Meeting on Transnational Crimes via video conference on September 24th. The meeting was chaired by the Philippines. The Vietnamese delegation was led by Lieutenant General Nguyễn Thành Sơn, head of the Foreign Relations Department under the Ministry of Public Security. At the meeting, the Vietnamese officers affirmed that Vietnam, together with other ASEAN countries, has been working closely with the law enforcement bodies of ASEAN dialogue partner countries in fighting transnational crimes through sharing information and experience, verifying information, checking down criminals, and investigating and arresting suspects and offenders. Coming up next on VTV News, Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc urges localities nationwide to continue to be on guard against the risk of COVID-19 outbreak, and that develop agricultural tourism toward sustainable development. Welcome back to VTV News. On Thursday afternoon, Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc sent a telegram to request ministry, agencies attached to the government and the people committees of provinces and cities nationwide to continue to be on guard against the risk of another COVID-19 outbreak. Every day, the world still records about 250,000 new cases and about 5,000 deaths. It's been predicted that a pandemic is likely to break out in many countries in the near future. The Prime Minister has assigned the Ministry of Health and local administrations to pay attention to pandemic prevention and controls in big cities and in densely populated areas. In the telegram, Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc also requested the reopening of international commercial routes with high safety standards. All of the customers are required to make an appropriate medical declarations, tests, isolations, and medical supervision. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted global supply chains and directly affected Vietnam production, export, import, and consumption of agricultural products. In order to provide timely support to Vietnamese businesses, the Ministry of Industry and Trade and Helvesta Vietnam together are holding an online trade conference on natural ingredients for the food and pharmaceutical industry. The event, which began on September 23rd, will run until Friday.
According to Helvetas Vietnam, except for garlic, the prices of Vietnam's exported cinnamon, ginger, turmeric, and chili, which are grown organically, have all increased by 20% despite the pandemic. Exports of agricultural products, food ingredients, and medicinal herbs have also risen in both volume and value. This is a golden time for Vietnamese exporters to increase their output and take advantage of the EVFTA and access EU markets.
Enterprises in the fields of agriculture, fishery, seafood, and food need to be ready with sufficient supply that meets the food hygiene and safety standards. By doing this, their products can be exported to the EU right after the pandemic is over.
With the support of the European Union and the Swiss government, we are implementing a bio-trade project to help businesses in the supply chain meet international standards. We are also doing our best to connect businesses with trade partners and importers.
The two-day online conference focuses on helping small and medium-sized enterprises resume international trade relations after the pandemic. The event saw the participation of 30 Vietnamese enterprises and over 100 importers from Europe, the US, the UAE, Japan, and South Korea.
Japan is the fourth largest export market for Vietnam's supporting industries after China, South Korea, and the United States. With abundant human resources and high technical skills, Vietnamese supporting industry have been able to meet the strict requirements of Japanese market. More to follow.
Since 2010, this supporting enterprise has started to directly supply Japanese FDI enterprises in Vietnam. The company still provides equipment and accessories for printers, motorcycles and cars to about 20 different partners, including major partners such as Honda, Yamaha, Canon and Toto.
The most important factor is to build trust, especially with Japanese partners. In our case, it took us 3 years before we got our first order from Canon. We have gained their trust, but our production capacity isn't enough to accommodate large orders from them.
Currently, a number of Vietnamese component manufacturers are doing well in fields such as manufacturing molds, standard mechanical components, technical plastics and rubber components. Mechanical technologies in this field are able to meet the requirements of the Japanese markets.
The production technology of Vietnamese enterprises had made remarkable progress in recent times. The number of Vietnamese enterprises that contribute to Panasonic's supply chains has increased significantly in recent years. We are always looking for new suppliers to diversify our supply chain and to reduce the cost of our products.
According to the annual survey data of the Vietnam Association of Supporting Industries, the Japanese market is the largest export market in this field. Approximately 30% of the 300 firms have never exported to Japan.
Thanks to Japanese enterprises, we have formed a manufacturing industry. Our system management process is still poor, but the Japanese enterprises can still help us reduce our cost. It can be said that Japanese customers are the most important customer for Vietnam's supporting industry.
Supporting industries need thousands of different product lines for automotive, motorcycle, textile, electronics, and precision engineering industries. However, at present, small scale and high costs are limiting Vietnamese supporting industries. In order to solve this problem and strongly develop supporting industries, Vietnam and Japan have agreed to implement many training sessions on human resources in the fields of business management, investment attraction, and promotion.
In order to consume specialties products of different regions, an exhibition called Connections of the Supply Chain Demands of Goods between Ho Chi Minh City and Provinces in 2020 was held on September 24th at the Phu Thọ Stadium in Ho Chi Minh City. The event attracted over 500 enterprises from 35 provinces across the country. This year's event continues establishing the supply chain from productions to consumption between Ho Chi Minh City and other provinces such as Bến Tre. The goals are to focus on supporting regional specialties products, industrial consumer products, agricultural products, and food that meet safety standards, and to have traceability and products with export potentials. The program takes place until September 27th. Dalat, which is located in Lâm province, is not only famous for its beautiful landscape but also for its agricultural products such as vegetable, flowers, and Arabica coffee. This is where the country's agricultural tourism developed. In fact, Dalat has really helped the tourism industry gain more opportunities.
In Dalat Mushroom Village, one of the 10 certified agricultural tourism destinations in Lâm province, visitors can experience a new world, discover the local cuisine, and learn more about agriculture. In addition, tourists can even look for investment opportunities if they find a good agricultural tourism model.
Very enjoyable, exciting, very unique place. My friend of Japan recommended me to come, so that's why I came here.
Improving service quality, diversifying tourism products, and creating new and attractive spaces are the criteria that help many agricultural tourism businesses in Dalat receive a certificate called Dalat, a miraculous crystallization from the good land.
Our goal is to bring the young generation closer to nature and help them understand more about the country's agriculture. We give them the opportunity to plant the seeds themselves, and then after 15 days, we ship the trees to the children.
By taking advantage of the potential strength of key agricultural products, agricultural tourism in Dalat aims to develop sustainably with the strong support of the state management agency.
We regularly organize training sessions to improve the quality of our services. We'll give suggestions to localities so that they can learn from their experiences. That way, agricultural tourism can develop and expand throughout Vietnam.
By promoting its strength and obtaining the certificate, agricultural tourism in Dalat will continue to make great strides in its mission to attract tourists from around the world.
On September 24th, the city of Hội An in Quảng Nam province officially reopened for tourism after a period of lockdown due to COVID-19. Operations will resume for the city's walking street, night market, traditional craft villages, and tours for visitors. Tourism activities will take place from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the first phase. In October, visitors to Hội An will enjoy a 50% discount on their ticket to visit the ancient town. Situated in the southern province of Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu, the Gundam Islands, also known as the Gundam National Park, are an archipelago of 16 mostly uninhabited islets, each of which offer expansive beaches shaded with evergreen trees. With plenty of unspoiled beaches, visitors in the region can enjoy a day of sunbathing, swimming, and eating fresh seafood. Join us in our following report to discover the hidden charms of the islands.
Located in Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu province, around 230 kilometers southeast of Ho Chi Minh City, the Gundam archipelago includes 16 islands. To preserve its pristine nature, only a dozen high-end hotels can operate in the area.
I feel overwhelmed by the beauty of this archipelago. This is the first time I've traveled by speedboat to reach the islands for sightseeing.
Located in the heart of Gundam's charming town, the secret Gundam offers an enchanting escape with a sparkling view of the sea. Visitors can enjoy the natural beauty of the archipelago with its crystal clear waters, green hills stretching far towards the sea, and the town's poetic scenery.
Local dishes are cooked by Vietnamese and foreign chefs, so the food is a combination of Vietnamese and Western flavors. It has a very unique taste.
Last year, Vogue magazine included Gundam on a list of 9 best paradise islands in the world. Decades after the war, the peaceful archipelago is now a Vietnamese island paradise and has maintained its pristine beauty. Here, visitors can find unspoiled beaches and forests, turquoise water, and a strictly protected national park that's home to a lively ecosystem.
Coming up next in our World News, Thailand takes first legal actions against Facebook and Twitter. An Egyptian orchestra for visually impaired women resumes concerts amid COVID-19. Thailand launched legal action on Thursday against tech giants Facebook and Twitter for ignoring requests to take down content in its first such move against major internet firms. The Ministry of Digital Economy and Society filed legal complaints with cybercrime police after the two social media companies missed 15-day deadline to comply fully with court-issued takedown orders from August 27th. No action was sought against Alphabet Google's as earlier indicated because its video platform YouTube removed the request content late on Wednesday. The ministry will file more requests asking Facebook, Twitter, and Google to remove more than 3,000 items, some of which include criticisms of the monarchy. Twitter and Facebook declined to comment, and Google did not respond to a request for comment. France has been a rising number of new COVID-19 cases over the past few days. France Health Minister Olivier Véran on Wednesday unveiled a map of coronavirus danger zones around the country and announced tighter restrictions. He said France would be divided into zones by alert level, with Marseille, the second largest city, and the French Caribbean islands of Guadeloupe for now the only two areas put on the maximum alert level. Paris and its suburb but also the northern city of Lille, the southwestern town of Toulouse, and the 6 other cities were declared reinforced danger zones. Attendance at major events will be limited to 1,000 people. Pre-planned events such as student parties will be banned, and bars and restaurants will have to close at 10 p.m. at the latest. Local officials representing the central government in different regions will have a couple of days to enforce these measures. The European Commission proposed on Wednesday a plan for EU member states to share the responsibility of asylum seekers under a compulsory solidarity mechanism. According to European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, every year the Commission will issue a projection of how many refugees each member state will need to take based on the size of its economy and populations, as well as estimated number of arrivals. The bloc's executive would pay member state 10,000 euros for every relocated adult and 12,000 euros for every relocated unaccompanied minor. The new migrant policy is expected to come into effect from 2023. Egypt Anu Wan Aman Chamber Orchestra, a music group of visually impaired women, has faced many challenges over the decades, yet none was like this year's COVID-19 pandemic. After months without playing, the orchestra member resumed rehearsal 3 weeks ago and held their first concert at the Monastirli Palace in Cairo.
Founded in 1971, the orchestra is entirely made up of women who are visually impaired, apart from their maestro. The women have had to adapt to special techniques to read and memorize music notes. The musicians specialize in Western classical music as well as modern Oriental music.
I used to play at home during lockdown. I would practice my music so as not to forget all the efforts they did at the association.
I love the orchestra very much. It is a group project, and I'm very happy when we all succeed together. The group spirit and cooperation between us is great.
Earlier this year, Egypt imposed restrictions on social and cultural activities, requiring public and private gathering, which for the orchestra mean they could neither rehearse nor hold concerts. Around 3 weeks ago, As the government continued to loosen coronavirus restrictions, the women were able to come together to rehearse again.
We cannot work comfortably. God willing, things will get better and we will go back to work in full capacity, even in concerts. Even today we are playing with half of the orchestra. Hopefully we will be back with full force. May God protect Egypt.
The orchestra currently includes its fourth generation of musicians. They have performed in more than 25 countries, including Austria, Kuwait, Spain, Japan, and Greece.
And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. That's all for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can log on to vtvgo.vn or subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4Go. You can also download our mobile application VTV Go. Thank you for watching and goodbye for now.